What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys day number 3 in my 12th annual 31 Days of Horror, a series in which we watch and review 31 horror films in 31 days, all during the month of October, leading right up to Halloween. And as I said before in the first video, expect some slashers. So today's review is labeled as a slasher. If it's actually a slasher, that's sort of up for debate. I'll give my opinions on that as well. But the film that I'm reviewing today is 1981's Bloody Birthday. I have seen this film before. I had it on DVD. I remember the transfer not being the greatest, but I'm sort of a HD snob now anyway, so like anything on DVD looks horrible to me. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's just the way I feel. So I have seen this film before, but it's been years. I haven't watched this in such a long time. So I was looking at, the collection, and Severin Films put out a Blu-ray here that I picked up and figured, why not give it a rewatch? It's not my birthday, but what the hell. So I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I rewatched this film because I very much enjoyed this flick, but I'll explain why here in a sec. Basically, this film opens up in the 1970s, I believe 1970 or 71, and basically 3 children are born on the exact same day during an eclipse, which if you've seen horror films, that's probably not a good thing. We flash forward 10 years, so the kids are about 10 years old now, and they're all friends, and they're all murderous. So they start picking off people in this town. Nobody really suspects them, except for a young kid who's in their class, also like 10 years old, and his older sister who happens to be sort of watching him while the parents are out of town. They start out by murdering this couple with a jump rope. So right away, I mean, it's a jump rope. Usually kids have jump ropes. I believe the sheriff even questions like the kids in the classroom. Does anybody know of this jump rope? And then they start, they actually kill one of their own parents, the cop, who, it looks like an accident, but it's kind of a ridiculous accident if they did try to pull that off. But they essentially like beat him to death, and but they make it look like he fell. There's a teacher who gets on their nerves, so they kill the teacher. And they have a little scrapbook that has pictures of the murdered people in it. They're also kind of douchebags to the little boy that I had mentioned, who's kind of aware that something's up with him. And then the sister, the older sister of the boy, she gets really involved when they try to murder her. And she's sort of piecing together stuff. And then that's basically your plot. Nobody really believes the girl because she tries to let people know that these kids are awful. The kids are also extremely smart and manipulative, which is fun because they're actually even thinking like one step ahead of everybody else, which makes it seem like they're just purely evil, and it's almost like a force instead of just like bad kids that are just, assholes. They actually feel evil, which is cool. There's a scene where we have one of the little girl killer. She has a hole in her bedroom closet that is like a peephole to her older sister's bedroom, where the older sister has this scene where she's like dancing and taking off her clothes, and she charges people like 25 cents to look into the hole, other kids, which I thought was funny and fun. This movie is just very fun, honestly. Like, it's pretty well paced. There's not a lot of downtime in it. There's actually a great scene in the junkyard where the kids have like hot-wired a car, and they're trying to kill the older sister of the lead. The lead older sister, I guess. She's kind of the lead, really. But the final girl, if you will. And it's actually really dope, like the way they make the car look scary as hell. It keeps coming at her. There's a scene where she like gets caught up in some wires that I felt was like a little poorly shot / edited. I didn't think they really did a great job conveying that she was actually stuck. I mean, she just literally had her foot in between some wires, and she had to act like she was stuck, but it clearly wasn't. There's a cool bow and arrow through like the peephole that I enjoy. It's not really a slasher film. Like right now, I'm working on watching slasher films for like Exploding Heads show coming up here in a year's time, and like at that point, you're sort of like debating like what is a slasher. Because there is, your tried and true slashers, Friday the 13th, right? Sleepaway Camp, stuff like that. They're by the book slasher film. But then you have like other types of slashers like Alice, Sweet Alice, and Texas Chainsaw that have the elements but really came out before the slasher genres was perfected with for Friday the 13th and even Halloween. Those came before and have the elements, the blueprints that eventually became the slasher film. That's why people call those proto-slashers. But then also you have like these interesting slasher films that are labeled slashers but aren't really typical of a traditional slasher in Maniac and Don't Answer the Phone, which I recently watched in the last year. Because you're following the killer, and the killer's the main character. They're more psychological. So those are sort of a different kind of slasher, and then you even could go further with like different types of slashers. Bloody Birthday, it has like the slasher elements of people getting like picked off here and there, but it's not a whodunit, which all slashers don't have to be whodunits, but it typically helps. If you know who the killer is, they're not the main focus of the film. And these kids aren't either, but they're more prominent than like, in Friday the 13th Part 5, you're not following Jason the entire time. Well, it's not even Jason in Part 5, spoiler alert. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back to Bloody Birthday. The transfer is really good on the Severin Blue. Definitely made me enjoy the film a little bit more. I actually really like the older sister. I think she's a fun lead character, especially once she realizes sort of what's going on and these kids are little bastards. You sort of are on her side. The kids were actually pretty good too. They come off creepy, and they honestly, more than anything, they just come off like little assholes. And that works really well because it makes you not like them, and you want to see them, get their comeuppance. But pretty solid little movie. Nothing too crazy, but it's a good killer kid flick. Slasher. I wouldn't really say it's a slasher for the thing that I'm working on, but sure, you could lump it in the slasher genre in broad terms. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give this film a solid 7 out of 10. It's a decent horror flick. So with that said, we'll see you guys next time with another review. Peace.